Good evening. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Welcome to the 20-Minute Fashion Distraction. I am Jacqueline Jenkins, the producer of the 20-Minute Fashion Distraction and the founder of Sophisticated Curations. We are an online content community for the savvy fashionistas. If you are not following us on Instagram, please do that at J Curations, and definitely follow our page on Facebook. And if you have found this show to be interesting, any tips of fashion or people, please do share the show. It definitely helps when the show is shared. So this has been an extremely exciting week in New York. It has been Fashion Week. Well, if we start off with the U.S. Open, we had Fashion Week, and then last night was the Met Gala. The night before last was the Met Gala. So it's been a lot going on in New York. And what I wanted to do tonight was to actually give you, everybody sees the shows and it's great that they're online and you can see the different articles and even see what people wear. Lovely, lovely, lovely. But I wanted to give you tonight a behind the scenes perspective of someone that actually produces shows, but also from a public relations event, talks about what is it like to actually support a show. So I see my mom is here. Hey, I'm going to bring my guest on. Hi, Kojenwa.
Hey, Jackie, how are you?
I am wonderful. I am wonderful. First of all, thank you so much for making time because I know you were just busy coming off of Fashion Week.
Yeah.
And Kojenwa Moitt is the CEO for Zebra Public Relations. And what I want to do is we have a little tradition where I read the formal bio and then I give a quick tip about how I know the individual. So I want to do that. And then we're going to get into our questions. So, and I love the way this starts off. Kojenwa is in the business of helping businesses. And those businesses just happen to be in this lovely industry that we talk about. And one of them is in the fashion space. And so as a leader and helping them to really build into iconic brands, she has worked as an actor in the film and television industry while living in Toronto after completing her BA in history and French literature from the University of Toronto. Her foray into the world of drama, coupled with her background in visual arts from the Art Gallery of Ontario, precipitated a demand for involvement in helping direct businesses scale for productions such as Toronto Fashion Week, New York Fashion Week, and also Fashion Week Brooklyn, as well as her launch and events such as the Toronto International Film Festival. And so I definitely want to talk with you more about the fashion scene in Toronto. I see Kathy's here. Oh my goodness, I see Man's here. Hi guys, and Claudia's here. And
Hi. What would the queens do? They'd be like,
yeah, I know, right? I know. Well, okay, I'm going to read the Bible. One of the things I always wish we could do is actually reach out and touch the feel on the audience. But hopefully we will get to that point where we have live audience. And she is currently serves as the city leader for Founders Live Toronto and New York, giving a platform for entrepreneurs to pitch to VCs. The way I got to meet Ms. Moitt, thank you, was actually Darylyn Hudson from the Styling Suite. Hey, Darylyn, thank you.
hey, Caroline.
So that I could be kind enough to go to the Fashion Bomb Daily Show during Fashion Week. And so I just want to say thank you for extending me an invite to be able to attend that show. We're going to talk a little bit about it. But I really just wanted to take a moment. Everybody, like I said, they see kind of the end result, but there's a whole behind the scene that happens with Fashion Week. And by you being on the production side, but also on the PR side, I felt it would be great for you to share. So with that, can you talk a little bit about the services that your firm, Zebra Public Relations, offers?
Right. So thank you so much for that pristine introduction. I really appreciate it. And so the services are all about entrepreneurs. We live, breathe, smell entrepreneurship. I'm an entrepreneur. I was an entrepreneur since 2008 when people were literally jumping out of windows because of Bernie Madoff, stole all their money. So it's like, no one's extending any job offers. I may as well go ahead and start my own thing. At the time, I'd been doing an MBA in Boston. So it was an opportunity to get me a business degree that would take me to Shanghai and I would learn awesome things about the world. And I said, no time like the present than to serve entrepreneurs and help them to market and become fully visible and iconic, quite frankly. Yeah, we
Awesome.
love
And
iconic.
yes, we totally love iconic. And when we were chatting before coming on, and Kathy says what an amazing background. You shared that you grew up in Paris.
Yes, yes. So it was funny because my parents are from the Caribbean, okay? And then they came to Canada in the 60s. So kind of Garvious, like, like let's do something fun. We have these kids and we give them fantastic names that have meaning. And my dad at the time was doing a doctorate. And so he had to do a study in Senegal where the archives were, where before the slaves left the port, or were taken, I should say, many of the archive paperwork was there. So he was doing a lot of the work to kind of find what our ancestors had written before they departed, and what they were doing. So I was raised in Senegal and product of Paris because, Senegal was a French colony. And so I just learned to speak the language really young, too.
Wow,
Yeah.
I love that. I love that. We have to talk more about Paris as well.
Yeah.
So, how did you move from the acting side to actually supporting the fashion and in terms of public relations, and then that leading into supporting brands that were actually showing during Fashion Week?
Yeah. Yeah. Because I've been acting for a while. I was in Toronto, and many of the production houses would come from New York to Toronto because there was a better rate financially. It served them. And I just thought, I can play the hooker and I can play the prostitute and I can play the best friend or whatever. I don't have control over what parts I could take. So I thought if I go behind the scenes and I work more on the production end, then I have more control over what I want to see come out. So I think my first foray was for TIFF. Jamie Foxx was coming out with Ray, which was his biopic on Ray Charles. And I had the opportunity to work at Pennant Media Group and just serve the VIP tent. I was like, okay, I'm going to make sure the reporters and the celebrities are well. The year was 2002. It's like so long ago. But that was my first foray. And then came Toronto Fashion Week and just putting the looks together behind the stage. Pandemonium. It's always crazy. Doesn't matter what you plan for, Jackie. It's something, you know.
Well, it all works because for Fashion Week that just passed, you were representing Fashion Bomb Daily. And so, can you talk a little bit about what Fashion Bomb Daily, not only the content creator, but the e commerce line? Um, can you share what role you played in terms of the production for that show?
Yeah, no. So I'd been back and forth from Toronto and New York. These are my two homes, Toronto and New York. And I'd gotten involved with a management company, Rare Advances, and they represent Claire. And they were like looking
Claire
for
Summers, right?
Claire Solmers, who is a giant in the industry of fashion. I mean, she's the editor in chief of Fashion Bomb Daily and the Fashion Bomb Daily Shop by extension. Magnanimous, right? Self made, millionaire, someone who had a vision for what she wanted to create, which was to talk about fashion and to promote and highlight the designers of color that are out there that maybe never got recognition but now are dominating virtually every house, right? Like if you look at Olivier for House of Balmain, I mean, there are a lot of young designers of color really just running with the whole bag. And, that's great. I love to
Yeah.
see it.
Yeah. And it's an amazing platform that Fashion Bomb Daily actually provides to not only show, but to actually sell, which at the end of the day is a key part. Going back to your point, as far as supporting entrepreneurs, is a key part of how these brands continue to grow. So share more about what you actually did this weekend.
Yeah, so essentially it was connecting with amazing people like you, Jackie. I mean, you are FIT connected. I mean, you are prolific. You can speak on fashion, of course, share it with, your medium as well. My role was really to connect with members of press, people that I'd already been speaking with in my circle of friends who were interested in attending, not just to see and be seen, but kind of it's a nod to the fact that we're slowly climbing out of this situation that we found ourselves in with COVID, and just acknowledging that, we've made it past the adversity, and that being homage to, what it can feel like to crawl out of the rubble. The show was held on 9/11. That's a signal. And it just meant to say that, we've definitely been through it, right? As a people, as a community. But we are able to vanquish past all odds. It's really just connecting the reporters to the designers who are ready to be seen. And that's the work fundamentally, is to push our entrepreneurs out there and allow them to be seen.
And you raise a great point. And I think one of the things that is happening with Fashion Week is it's becoming more consumer facing, meaning consumers are more engaged in the process. I don't know if it's always clear that one of the key reasons for the Fashion Week is to really bring forth the designers and their works, and as a PR firm, how you're really making that connection, so that they really not only grow in their name, but also potentially grow in their sales, which is wonderful.
Yeah, it's a bonus. It's like I always say, no sales, no business. No sales, no business. If you're not making money, it don't make sense, right? And it's just a hobby, which is fine if that's what you want it to be, right? But no sales, no business. So we talked about Claire Sulmers. She's the editor-in-chief of Fashion Bomb Daily. She's got the shop. The shop is the back end sales funnel, right? And the event is the PR for the brand, for the overarching brands. It makes sense to thank your vendors, thank your customers, the people who've stayed on with you. And she appeals. You'll notice some of the housewives were there, right? We're talking Cynthia Bailey and Ashley and her husband. A lot of the Bravo celebrities were there because they're actually wearing the stuff she's got on the shop. And we were shocked one day when we opened our Instagram and had seen Cardi B wearing Sib G's shoes, on her newest hit type shit. We're like, oh, we got arrived. It's a good day when that happens.
No, it's awesome to see. And you touched on something. So last year there weren't shows because of COVID. And if there were shows, they were primarily online, and it just wasn't a true Fashion Week. And so this was a Fashion Week. The show that you kindly invited me to was actually in person. What felt a little different for you this Fashion Week compared to Fashion Weeks in the past?
It just felt disjointed. Just earlier today, I was, we're in New York when there's a motorcycle like drilling. Just earlier today, I was sitting with the director of Fashion Week Brooklyn, Rick Davey, and he was saying, it's feeling disjointed, wherein when you have a fashion show during the week, you could just blanketly claim that it's New York Fashion Week. It didn't really matter whether it was affiliated with the brand per se. It was just that you were throwing it during this week. So we talk about appropriation. We talk about those things. Now, last year, Fashion Week Brooklyn, what they did is they hired drones to be the film cameras, and then they shot the scenes on the soccer rooftop and were able to stream that through to Roku. And that's how they were able to hit their audiences. Last year was the first year they had, triple the enrollment of designers because people were sitting at home creating and had no outlet within which to communicate. So there are still creative ways to push your message out there. But I think last year it felt a lot more disjointed. Like people didn't have a, area where they could congregate and go to a series of shows. Things were kind of, Rihanna was in Brooklyn, for example, and, people were in different places, whereas that was not done. Everything was in Manhattan necessarily. So.
And what were you most excited to see on the runway this Fashion Week?
Yeah, well, I'm a big fan of Fashion Bomb Daily and definitely Oyemwen. I was looking at Kanye's production, how he had used Balenciaga to push his pieces out for his Donda launch. I mean, there's so many examples. I loved Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez at the Met Gala,
Mhm.
with her dress, Talks the Rich, and it incited a lot of Twitter debate. And my Twitter finger is so hot.
Yes,
Um,
yes,
so I just live for
yep,
Met Gala. CFDA came out with their announcement. They're like, this is our stance. We want people to be well, to be healthy. Is really happy for that. Pierre Moss, black designer, who's just vocal about championing the cause, the Black Lives Matter movement. There's so many. I think for Alexandra AOC, what we call her, she borrowed from designer Aurora James, who attended the gala along with the congresswoman. And
yes,
he's the founder of Brother Vellies, a clothing brand focused on traditional African designs and sustainability. And sustainability is also a huge facet of Fashion Week these
yeah,
days. That
yes,
would be
yes.
another difference. Yeah,
And she's
um,
in Brooklyn as well.
she is.
Good.
She
Yeah, yeah,
is.
yeah.
Yeah. So it's been so exciting to watch. And look out for AI in fashion. I know Fashion Week Brooklyn is going to be coming out with QR codes that you're going to see emblazoned on some of the restaurants and hotels around the city.
Now, explain what the AI is, and what that means as far as the QR codes.
Okay. So for those of you who have no idea what a QR code, it looks like a square. It's like a jagged square with all these like black dots.
Which most
Typically,
restaurants are doing now instead of the menus, right? They're asking you to do the QR
precisely.
code. Yes. Yep.
Yeah, because it's more touchless, right? And the assumption is that you have a working phone that can pull up something online.
Yep.
So you would open up your camera function and point the camera eye to the QR code. It would then open up a link. The link now, with what Fashion Week Brooklyn is designing, is allowing you to be featured alongside the virtual runway.
Yes.
So you're now able to see, it's AI.
Yep.
Like I can
Hmm.
see you and I can see a series of clothing in a rack and I could potentially try it on as I sit for coffee. Insane.
Yeah.
Like so bionic, but that's where we're going.
Well, it's funny. The brand Hanifa, with her digital show last year, I think really, who was a young African American designer out of the Baltimore area. I mean, I think she really helped to push kind of fashion to think about the digital that way. Now it's kind of like, oh, everybody's doing it. But when she did
Mhm.
it last year, when we were, to your point, sitting at home, it broke the internet. But it also, I think it helped people to see that you can engage with fashion in so many different ways.
Yeah.
And I think that was the piece that was so neat about the Fashion Bomb Daily show that you produced, in terms of not only did we get to see the designs, we had to talk to designers, and more importantly, we got to hear about their inspiration. And I think that that's key now, because more people are, I mean, as people are thinking about buying, it's not just putting stuff in your closets, it's actually
Right.
putting stuff in your closet that means something.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
so yeah,
Yeah.
awesome. I see Jan has a question in terms of the Met Gala thoughts.
Okay.
um, I'll quickly share. My favorite one was, I love J Lo's piece. And for me, it kind of goes back to, I think her stylist really took the theme and brought it to another level.
Yeah.
And you don't get to see brown on the runway that often. You definitely do not get to see a cowboy hat. And I think the
Yeah.
textures really made a difference.
Yeah. J Lo is timeless. She is one of a kind, truly. I just find that everything she does is pretty flawless. I know she works very hard. I'm just trying to see if I can pull up that image of her Met Gala look. Let me see if I can.
Yeah, and you know what? I have to drop it in. So I want, but I got
Yeah,
to put my Instagram and J Curation because it was flawless.
it
So
was flawless. Yeah.
before we close, can you share any designers that you think we should be looking out for? That's a
Yes.
question from Jackie. Who should we be
Yes.
looking out for?
Okay, perfect. So there's Theophilo, championed by industry insiders like TA Luxury Boutique. Um, Black Fashion Fair founder Antoine Gregory. Teofilo is quickly becoming a household name. He is Jamaican American and he is amazing. There's the House of Ama, AAMA, founded by mother daughter design duo Akua, rather, Shakaba and Rebecca Henry. House of Anna creates timeless pieces that are inspired by the Black experience. The brand is produced entirely in Los Angeles. We're getting a
Oh,
lot of local awesome talent. Yeah, and keeping with the West Coast lifestyle. So she's definitely come up as number one.
love
I
it.
would, yeah, I would definitely see Sib G on shoes, shoes.
Okay.
She's a Haitian American woman, so she's usually based in Miami.
Okay.
Oyenwen, who you saw on the runway,
Yes.
definitely killing
Out
it.
of Atlanta, right?
Out
Right.
of Atlanta, yeah. And Kim Shui, with more than 180,000 followers on Instagram, Kim Shui has attracted some pretty high profile admirers already. Her super sexy party attire has been worn by Hailey Bieber and Gigi and Bella Hadid.
Nice. Very nice.
Definitely doing it.
Well, thank you for that. I can't believe we're at 20 minutes. What I say is, first of all, I want to say thank you to the audience for coming back every Wednesday. I'm very grateful that you not only support the platform, but you share it and that you actually share in the joy of this thing we call fashion. I like to say to my guests, there's one thing in life that you can't get back, and that's time. So I thank you so much for sharing your time and talent with us this Wednesday night and giving us the 411 about Fashion Week. And would definitely love to have you come back. We want to hear more about Toronto Fashion Week and your next project.
Yeah, sounds
Hey,
amazing.
Anthony. All right, so we're going to say until next week, be safe, be sound. Next week, we're actually talking about the supply chain behind fashion and what you'll see in the stores the next season. So more to come on that. Hi, Leah. And everybody stay safe and stay well, and we'll see you next week. And hang on for a minute. Hang on, Kojenwa. Hold on.